Recording.
Thank you. So, April 21st, today, I'm a big fan of the saints. And for inspiration every morning, I look it up, who's the saint of the day. So today, I found it rather fitting of St. Anselm. So St. Anselm of Canterbury. And if you guys hadn't noticed when you walk in the door, this is actually St. Anselm's hall. So for those of you that didn't know about St. Anselm, commonly regarded as the father of scholasticism. A lot of times we look to the Dominicans like Thomas Aquinas and Bonaventure, but actually it was over 100 years earlier, where it was a Benedictine. We call him St. Anselm of Canterbury, but actually he's from northern Italy. So he's actually San Anselmo. And the scholastic tradition, I know it can be a bit ethereal, a bit of a stretch. When I first saw St. Anselm, I didn't get overly excited. But as you guys know, what gets me excited is history. So I looked at the year he was born, 1033. Okay, what's going on in 1033? Started digging into a bit of his past. And the ontological argument is one of the things he's most famous for. So this is the idea that reason is actually a tool that God gave us. It's faith and reason working together. With the ontological argument, it's that if you see something great and that inspires you, that's actually just getting that little bit closer to God. If you see a tree and think, wow, that giant sequoia, that's amazing. Where did that come from? Oh, the sky, the rain, the soil. Where did that come from? Oh, the atmosphere, gravity, our solar system, the sun. Getting that little bit closer. Okay, why does that work? What created that? And as you keep going, that's the ontological argument. Okay, that is a little interesting. It's not quite as ethereal as I thought it would be, but everything going on in the world today, obviously we all watch the news, know what's happening, think, okay, well, what does that have to do with today? And I was thinking 1033, wait a second, what else was going on there? And why do we call him St. Anselm of Canterbury if he was from Italy? Because he had a bit of a life, as we all did when he was younger. Had some good times, had some bad times, really close with his mom, some struggles with his dad when he was a young man. But his mother died. He was drawn to the Benedictine order. Ended up going and studying under smartest person he'd heard there was actually up in Normandy, France. So he went up and joined the Abbey of Bec. Ended up being the abbot replacing the abbot who was there. Like, wait a second, so he was born in 1033, he's coming up around 40 years old in Normandy, France, around the year 1069. What was going on there? When I started digging into the life of St. Anselm, I was actually kind of surprised how this wasn't really mentioned much. But in the year 1066, William of Normandy invaded England. That was the last time England was conquered by a foreign military. That's why we call him William the Conqueror. He invited St. Anselm to be the Archbishop of Canterbury. Think about that dynamic. Foreign power of French taking over the Anglo-Saxon world that had been at war for 500 years between the local Romano-British population, the Anglo-Saxons, and then the Norman French come in and conquer everything. And he brings in an Italian who'd studied in Normandy as the leading religious figure for this new kingdom that was founded based out of Canterbury. William the Conqueror died. A couple years later, his son came in, William II. Well, first there was Henry, but then there was William II came in. And they had a bit of a disagreement because William II wanted to decide who the bishops were and wanted to appoint bishops himself. And being very well educated, St. Anselm said, no, that's not actually the way that it works. So now, by this point, he was actually getting into the 1090s. So he went to Rome. because he got exiled, the king said, nope, you're actually not in charge, I'm in charge. He said, well, actually, I am the Archbishop of Canterbury, so when it comes to anything ecclesiastical, I am in charge here. King got rid of him. So he went to Rome. In the early 1090s, he met with the Pope in Rome, Urban II. Does that sound familiar? What was happening in the 1090s? The First Crusade was called. I think we got some issues going on now. The First Crusade was called in the 1090s by Urban II, Pope Urban II. That was who Anselm went and met with. So the debates that we talk about now of who actually gets to decide who a bishop is, the ontological arguments, scholasticism, we're all actually products of our environment. The things that we're dealing with today might seem challenging. Have we been invaded and conquered by a foreign occupying force that's completely changing our entire society? Have the actual Crusades been called to go retake the Holy Land yet? That is what produced St. Anselm and the scholastic tradition, which is why where we're meeting right now is called St. Anselm's Hall. To this day, we're still connected back to the saints. So using that as inspiration, what can all of us accomplish with all the amazing gifts that we have? I challenge all of you now, start looking around. What inspires you? Whatever that is, that's actually going to help all of us get that much closer to God.